Hey, I'm Coach Michael Burt, the Super Coach. Just text Coach Burt to this number or that number to get weekly updates, where I'm going to be coaching, and strategies for you to play at a much higher frequency. Have gone through my coaching summit and have gone out into the world and really did significant things with what they learned in that 2.5-day process. And so I want to welcome you tonight to our webinar on how to build your speaking and coaching business without spending hundreds of thousands of dollars. Okay. And hopefully that got your attention, because you may be in an industry where you want to transition, like I did as a high school basketball coach, that transitioned into speaking, which led to coaching, leading, training, publishing. And I can certainly show you how to do that. And just so you know, I started all of that with less than $7,500 in my bank account. No lines of credit, no loans, no investors. And no matter what you're doing for a living, I really think you can transition and do this. What started off as a side hustle for me as a high school basketball coach became my main hustle. And I'll talk a little bit about how that happened when I started 31 years old. And then, like I said, I'll be bringing in Brad Blazer out of Houston, Texas, who has built a coaching program and doing all kinds of things now with what he's learned through our coaching program and our $1 Million Coaching Summit. And also Jonathan Hawkins, who has gone through our coaching summit as well. Now, here's the 3 things I'm going to cover tonight. Here's the framework. Number 1, I'm going to cover how to create a message and position by concept so that it is attractive to the market. Okay, now this is very critical. I'm going to show you how to position by concept. And before you become famous, which I know all of you are, which means renowned, celebrated, right? Before you become famous, I'm going to teach you how to create incredible concepts that attract other people to you, right? And I had a business coach very early on in my career that said, before you become Tony Robbins' coach, you need to create great concepts. So tonight I'm going to teach you how to position by concept, whether to build a speaking topic around it or a coaching business around a singular concept that is attractive to the market. Second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to really show you how to understand how the speaking business really works, because you're going to find out tonight that every major contract I have ever signed, almost every person that I have signed up in my coaching program came from seeing me speak on a stage. So I believe that stages really is the most important thing you can do. That could be online stages, that can be virtual summit stages, that can be in person, that can be online or offline. I'm going to show you tonight how the speaking business really works, because it's one thing to have a message. It's another thing to know how to monetize that message. It's one thing to write a book. It's another thing to know how to sell the book. It's one thing to have a concept. It's another thing to know how to build a multi-million-dollar brand around that concept. So number 1, we're going to show you how to position by concept tonight. We're going to show you how to understand how the speaking business actually works. And number 3, I'm going to show you how to start your speaking and coaching business without spending that hundreds of thousands of dollars that I mentioned, because you don't need money to start a speaking business. You need courage. You need confidence. You need a message. You need to solve a problem with your primary skill. So in tonight's webinar, I'm going to show you how to build this speaking business and build a message that you can monetize. I believe out of everything that a person can do to impact people and drive new business, speaking is the best thing that you could do. Now, let me say that again. Out of everything you could do to impact people, to truly move people to a higher frequency, I believe that the number 1 thing you can do is you can speak. Okay, that's the number 1 thing. It allows us to articulate our beliefs and convictions. It allows us to get alignment, right? Speaking allows us to do all of these things, to share our position with the world. And it gives participants the ability to increase their desire to purchase our products or services. Okay, so out of everything you could do, no matter what you do, I believe speaking is the number 1 thing. I believe every person on here has a song to sing and people to sing that song too, right? Too many of you have kept that song a secret. It's time to bring it to the world through a vibrant speaking and coaching business. Now, throughout the night, I'm going to offer several things. If you would like to get a strategy session with me about your speaking career or your writing career, publishing career, then simply email eric@coachburt.com or lakin@coachburt.com. They'll be putting their phone numbers in the chat box for you to reach out to them personally. But if you want to do a strategy session with me on your speaking career or speaking topic or book writing topic, then I'd be happy to do that. And I think these strategy sessions are incredibly valuable, right? So Eric, coachburt.com just posted, text him right now and say you want to do a strategy session or if you want to do something on your publishing career. You can also invest tonight in the $1 Million Coaching Workbook that I'll be covering at the $1 Million Coaching Summit, right? And Eric or Lakin can post that link in the chat box tonight. That is a way for you to follow along what I teach at the $1 Million Coaching Summit. That's a great way to get started toward your coaching career because you see what I'm going to be coaching people on throughout. And if at some point tonight you want to take action on the $1 Million Coaching Summit, which is what Jonathan Hawkins and Brad Blazer went through, then we'll have the link for you to take action on that as well. Now, let's get started. Let's get this party started, guys. How many of you, I'm going to start by asking some questions. How many of you feel like you have a song to sing and people to sing it to? Okay. Have you ever wanted to take your experiences and place them into a message that could help other people? Do you believe that your life experiences would be valuable to other people if packaged, right? How many of you have been deeply impacted by a message? I was. At 18 years old, a mentor of mine said, if you don't read another book this year, pick up a copy of The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And I went to the bookstore and I got that book and I began to read that book at 18 years old. And I didn't understand it, guys. It was so complicated. I didn't know the difference between a paradigm and a paradigma and the personality ethic and the character ethic, but I dug in and I read it again and I read it again and I read it again. And then at 25 years old, I saved enough money to go to Boston, Massachusetts. I didn't have a lot of money, guys. I rented a room in a nursing home. True story. I didn't have enough money to buy a hotel in Boston, and I literally rented a spare bedroom in a nursing home because at 25 years old, I flew to Boston by myself to meet my mentor, Dr. Stephen Covey. And I sat in the audience and I watched Dr. Covey deliver the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And that day, sitting in that audience and meeting my mentor, I made up my mind, I want to be like that guy. I want to impact people like that man. I want to come up with great content. I want people from all over the world to come to a place to see me speak. I want to deliver in such a way that stirs souls and open minds. And that's when I decided I really wanted to speak, guys. Okay. Many of you have had that same experience. You have this seed in you where you have a message or have had life experiences that you want to share with the world because deep down, man, you know they will help other people, right? Deep down, you know that you have that song to sing and people to sing it to. You know you have valuable. You have baked the cake, I like to say, and now you are ready to sell the recipe. So tonight's webinar is going to show you how to start the process. Some of you are further down the road than others. Some of you have a concept. Some of you don't have a concept. Some of you have experiences. Some of you, all you have is a desire to share a message with the world, just like I did, sitting in that audience at 25 years old and meeting my mentor and watching him. You know, I had that, man, I can do that. I want to do that, right? So I want to thank you for taking time to show up and invest in yourself. It was an investment that I made at 25 to go through a 5-day course after seeing my mentor. I borrowed the money from my mother. I didn't have $2,500 and I borrowed the money from my mom. And I went to a 5-day course on the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And it changed my life. Not only did it change my life, it's helped me to earn millions and millions of dollars speaking and coaching and training. And that's really what I want to show to you is you made an investment to come tonight, right? Making an investment in you is one of the best things you can do because when it comes time, there's a difference between what something costs and what something's worth, okay? What something's called and what something's worth, okay? Now, No, Michael Mulkey, I didn't check my phone for a text. I checked it to make sure to turn it off because I thought it was on. Great question, though. Now, I've written 16 books, spoken to hundreds of thousands of people around the world, and I have a methodology that can really help you replicate this. What I'm going to share with you is very important to taking a dream of speaking and turning it into a reality. Many of those who have gone through my coaching summit, Brad Blazer and Jonathan Hawkins, have now gotten on bigger stages. They have now created their own summits. They produced hundreds of thousands of dollars of new revenue, all because they took action on a concept. Now, what's in it for you tonight? When we're finished tonight with this webinar, I hope that you have a clarity about the speaking process and the motivation you need to get started. Most people have an idea. Statistics show that 200 million Americans believe they have a book inside of them. That's 81% of Americans believe they should write a book. 95% of books never sell more than 5,000 copies. Most people will never get on stages. They never figure out how to get a speaking engagement. They never figure out how to write a best-selling book. They never figure out how to monetize their message. They have a message, but they don't know how to package that message. They don't know how to sell that message. They don't know how to work a selling system to get on a stage. They don't know what to charge. They don't know how to build a coaching program after the follow-up, right? They don't know how to get on a stage and turn the stage into hundreds of thousands of dollars by having a coaching program, which is a mistake I made for many years. I had a talk. I got on stage. I sold some books. But I didn't understand how to take this golden opportunity. And sometimes it was thousands of people I was in front of and turn it into hundreds of thousands of dollars because I didn't have a coaching program. I didn't have a scalable product. So tonight, after tonight, you should have clarity. Clarity on how to position by concept. Clarity on how the business really works. Clarity on how you can start or grow your coaching business. Now, who's this for? It's for anybody who wants to speak or coach. No two people on this webinar have the same experiences. You are uniquely you. I want you to think of it like this. I am paying you for your past experiences, your past breakdowns, your past breakthroughs. Your past helps me build my future. Now, if you stick around to the very end, I've got some bonus material that I'm going to give you, some bonus offers that I'm going to give you from going through the webinar. But I, just like you, have gone through struggles. When I first started speaking at 25 years old, I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a structure. I didn't have an idea what I was doing, right? I didn't have a way to monetize my message, okay? A speaking engagement has to solve a problem for the audience or the economic buyer, okay? Now, let me unpack what that means. The way you get on a stage that we're going to talk about tonight is your topic, your message, your experiences, your skill has to solve a problem for either the audience or the economic buyer. You see, the economic buyer is the person writing the check. There have been times that I've gone in to speak to companies where the CEO wrote the check and said, I want you to push these people hard. I want you to come down hard on them, coach. I want you to deliver the goods. And man, I was pushing and getting in their face and going as hard as I could. And man, they didn't like it. But the economic buyer liked it. The person writing the check liked it because that's what they wanted me to say to that group. So you got to get in your mind that people don't put you on a stage just because you're a good person. They don't put you on a good stage because you've lived a fairly cool life. They don't put you on a stage unless you have something to say. You can solve a problem. Okay? Your message solves a problem for someone, either the audience or the economic buyer. Early on in my career, I didn't know how to get on stages. I literally just took free speaking engagements anywhere that I could just to give my talk. I didn't know what to charge. I didn't know how to create a product to sell when I was there, or even how to scale the concept. I had energy. I had motivation. I had the want to. What I didn't have was a clear plan or understanding of how it works. And if you don't understand how it works, there are secrets to every business. No matter what people tell you that there are no secrets, there are secrets that you need to know. Now, if you pay close attention to what I'm going to show you tonight, you will be able to take the ideas that you have in your mind. I want you to think of these ideas that you have in your mind, okay? And know that you can turn them into a speaking career. When I wrote my first two books, I wrote the first book for coaches, but here's the funny thing, coaches didn't buy it. I couldn't get coaches to buy it, but thank goodness I had the product, and Business people bought it. Totally unexpected. I wrote a book called Changing Lives Through Coaching. That was my first book 16 books ago. And I wrote it for other coaches. Like, I'm a young coach. I've learned a lot. I've been doing this 10 years. I think I can help people. So I wrote a little book for coaches, and I couldn't get one coach to buy it. I think we gave a bunch of them away. But let me tell you who bought it. Managers. And they begin to say, will you come over and speak to our people? Okay. So what, if you pay close attention, what I'm going to teach you tonight, you'll be able to take the ideas in your mind and you'll be able to turn it into a speaking career. Who knows what can happen from there? Doors will be open, speaking opportunities. Your person of interest score will go up. You may be able to leave the profession that you're in, like I did, and become a professional speaker, a professional coach, a professional trainer, maybe even a professional author, right? But there's some secrets you got to know. The first secret you got to know is that you have the raw materials you need to speak. Okay, and let me say that again. You have the raw materials. I want you to think of your past, all of your past, the good, the bad, the ugly. That is nothing but raw material. Your past, if packaged appropriately, packaged means put into something that I can absorb through a podcast, through a speaking engagement, through a book, through an online learning program. Your past, packaged appropriately, can help me build my future. You see, in essence, I'm paying you for your past. Now, if there's nothing interesting about that past, if your past has not given you a skill set that I would pay for, see, your past helps me build my future. All the materials you need to build a speaking engagement, a speaking topic, write a book, build an online platform, comes from one place, your past. Now, most coaches tell you don't live in the past. Don't go back to the past. Focus on your future. I would actually tell you the opposite. Your past helps me build my future. Just keep this in your mind, right? But here's the problem. Most people don't know how to package their past. Every book you see behind me that I've written, every book started from my past. Even this book called The Accountable Church. I've been a churchgoer my whole life, guys. It wasn't until I was 40-something years old that my pastor asked me to coach him. I took all of my experiences of going to different churches growing up, studying the fastest growing churches in the country, building a successful coaching program, the parallels between coaching and churches, and put it into a book for pastors. That's a whole new arena for me. It all comes from my past. Okay? Your past helps me build my future. The problem is you haven't packaged it into a topic and into a message. This is where positioning by concept begins. If you look at any of my books that become speaking topics, they all solve a problem. Okay, they all solve a problem. Swag is a book about confidence, which shows you how to build, maintain, and protect your greatest asset. $1 Million Follow-Up gives you a 7-touch system to help you close deals in your pipeline faster. Single Digit Millionaire shows you how I went from a high school basketball coach to where I am today. It's a book about transition. You need a catchy topic that solves a problem for other people, that they want to hear that topic. Okay? You need a topic that other people want to hear that solves a problem for them. So when I come up with a concept, a speaking engagement, my wife's book, Living with the Monster, is about how you live with an obsessed person like me. How do you stay married to a person who works like I work or thinks like I think? That solves a problem for all the people that are married to high D people. Now, I want to bring Jonathan Hawkins in, and who went through my $1 Million Coaching Summit. And Jonathan is a former intel officer in the military, and who turned into a marketing expert. And one of the things that I was thinking about right here, Jonathan, for you, is I want you to talk about how the Coaching Summit helped you to take your past experiences and package those up in a better way that would help you go out and speak and coach and train and lead. Because there's a lot of people watching this tonight that have a desire to speak or share a message with people, but they're like, well, what would I speak on? Or what would I talk about? Or why would anybody want to hear it? And as I was putting this webinar together, I spent hours and hours just putting the context of this together. I kept thinking about you and using your past experiences as a military intel officer, studying brain science, that has helped you become a marketing expert that builds speaking topics and writes books on these things. So talk to them about how the coaching summit helped you.
Well, I think the biggest thing is just not being able to see the thing that you're great at, or the thing that you really want to be known for, because like you say, you can't see the picture if you're standing inside of the frame. So I think that there are going to be epiphanies for people when they realize that the answers to the questions that they've probably been contemplating or asking themselves for quite some time can easily be answered by going through this coaching summit, by going through the process, by going through the questions, not only with yourself, but with the other people there. And really just that engagement is going to, click on some things that, again, they're there and they just need to be turned on, right? Or they just need to be activated, like you like to say. So I think for me, I never thought about the concept of combining intel and brain science to marketing. Even though that's what I was doing the entire time, it took somebody like yourself to say, well, that's exactly what you're doing, right? And then when I go out to the market and I say, hey, this is exactly what I'm doing, next thing you know, my prices have gone up higher, everything's selling more. I booked bigger stages. I tripled prices for stages just because I can. And really just because my concept was something that nobody was talking about. Nobody in the market was saying, hey, I combine intel and brain science to marketing. So even if somebody else was doing it, that's really where things stood out. And again, the way that happens is going through the workbook with you one-on-one in an atmosphere for multiple days where you're surrounded by people, you're bouncing questions off each other, you're bouncing ideas off each other, and really you're supporting people right across the table from you on, hey, let me answer those for you, hey, you answer these for me. And so not only is somebody going to be getting yourself and all of your experience and for the past X amount of years in those 3 days, but they're going to be surrounded by 49 other people who are doing the exact same thing and trying to do the exact same things that they want. So, those are just some of the takeaways. I hope that answered your question.
Now, I want everybody to hear what Jonathan said. He had the raw materials, right? He had studied brain science. He was a former intel officer. And when I met Jonathan, I was thinking, this is his differential advantage. This is what makes him unique in the market. This is what he should be selling. This is what's going to make him unique to get on stages. This is what's going to give him a competitive advantage over all of the other marketing people in the world. So when he came to the coaching summit and we began to get into this raw materials, listen, I don't know how many speakers are out there, Jonathan. I'm assuming there's hundreds of thousands of people that speak and write books, but you're competing versus the best people in the world for your message. I was telling somebody today, I'm competing right now versus Grant Cardone and Wolf of Wall Street and Tony Robbins and John Maxwell. And these are people, and Brad Sugars, these are people I compete against every single day to win stages. If you don't have a unique message, if you've not positioned by concept, if you haven't gone back into your past and really figured out what makes you unique and then packaged it. See, Jonathan had all this uniqueness about him. What I saw with my brain was real simple. Oh, that's what you should be selling. You should be selling brain, right? Brain science, former military officer, because nobody else in the world is doing marketing is doing this. So you could be the number one guy in the world. I'm the only person in the world talking about Prey Drive right now. If you Google Prey Drive, there is nobody talking about it on planet Earth except Coach Burt. Now, you have got, for the people watching tonight, okay, Jonathan, and one more thing, as you left the coaching summit, what happened? Give us some updates on what happened to your career after you came to the coaching summit and we went deep on your speaking and coaching and training and leading and online presence. What kind of momentum did you build?
So I'm not sure if you even know this, but I actually changed up my entire kind of philosophy and strategy when it comes to online courses, for instance, and online speaking and virtual speaking, because what I was doing is I was actually putting every concept into one, right? So you have an entire system, or imagine you had an entire book, or you had an entire platform in general, and you're trying to put all those concepts into one. But what I started to do is I started to really take the concept and break those things down, right? How do I put a guide together on this concept? How do I put a course together on this concept? How do I put a speaking topic together? How do I do a webinar on this topic? And when I put everything just together on that one concept, I can package that up and sell it. And I can sell it actually for a lot more than if I, was trying to do this concept and this concept and this concept all together. And so that's what I've been showing lots of people, because that is actually something that I actually coach people on, which is called splintering, which is taking your thing and taking a portion out of it and selling it on its own. Except in my version of that, I was putting all of the concepts together as opposed to really honing in on, okay, every concept has a book, it has a course, it has a workbook, it has a guide, it has a speaking topic, it's got XYZ, and it actually makes things a lot easier as well. So, that's really where I shifted from trying to have this academy type concept or this university type concept, and really into this program type concept of this program is going to go through X, Y, and Z. This program is going to go through X, Y, and Z as well. But now you're actually getting people to purchase 2 different programs from you, as opposed to, oh, I just got Jonathan and I got all of his different concepts. So drastically, revenue has increased on everything when it comes to the programs.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for joining us tonight too. Now, as he was talking about that, I was thinking, you may be sitting there thinking, I was thinking I was once in your shoes, really, right? When I wrote my first book, I didn't know what I was doing. If you're out there thinking, man, I don't really know what I was doing. I didn't either, right? I really didn't understand how to take that book and get a speaking engagement. I was smart enough to get the book in the hands of key people. This is why you need a book, right? The book gives you a topic. The book forces you to have a message. The message, if powerful enough, can get you on stages. Then once on a stage, you can articulate your value. We call this the showcase. When you have a message and you get on the stage, I want you to think of you're taking a sales meeting with hundreds, if not thousands of people. Instead of taking a meeting 1-to-1, you take a meeting 1-to-50, 1-to-100, 1-to-500, 1-to-700. And if those people like you and believe in your message and they have an affinity with you, they're going to gravitate towards your product. So just remember this. When I wrote the book forced me to have a message. When I had a message, I got to get on stages. When I got on stages, I got in front of people. When I got in front of people, I got more leads. You don't need more money, you need more people. Okay? And that's how you have to start thinking about this message. So Jonathan, thank you for coming in and offering that counsel on what you did from the coaching summit, right? You see, what a lot of people don't understand is where the real money is made in the coaching business. The real money is made, you can make money in speaking, okay? And you can make money on speaking fees. But the real money is made when you have a great message that gets you on great stages, that allows you to have a coaching program that you sell on the back end that is scalable. Okay, this is where the real money is made. When I spoke at 10X to 10,000 people at Mandalay Bay, I had to have a great message. The message was inside the mind of a monster. How do big time people think? That got me on stage because of my relationship with Cardone to 10,000 people. Now, if I had had some of these things in order, scalable coaching programs, there's no telling. We may have done $10 million of business from 1 hour. We did $1 million of business from 1 hour when I got on that stage. But if we would have had it really tight with a scalable coaching program on the back end of that, and I would have been coached in how to pitch it better, it could have been $10 million, guys. So just know the coaching program is something you have on the back end that you come in and sell once you get in front of people, but you're never going to get in front of people if you don't have the message. And the message is not compelling. So because of limited time tonight, I don't have a chance to teach you everything that I've learned the last 18 years the hard way. So I'm going to show you 3 things of my entire system. Secret number 1, create or position by concept. Create or position by concept. As I'm talking about this right now, I want you thinking, what is the strongest concept you have in your arsenal? Many years ago, when I was a trainer for a seminar company, seminar companies go around the country and they lead full-day seminars. They would heavily market to a community, to a market, and they would sell tickets to the seminar. Nobody knew who the speaker was. People would come for the concept. Then they would get a trainer like me. My topic was excelling as a first-time manager or supervisor. And they would market to every company in a geographic location and say, if you have managers that have never managed people before, never led people before, you got to send them to this workshop, and it's $99 a person. And people would come in, and sometimes they would get 300 or 400 people at these workshops. And then a guy like me would come in and teach. I would teach their material, their concepts, not my own concepts, because at that time I didn't have my own concepts. And they paid me $250 a day. And they put me up in crappy hotels, which is why I have such a bad taste for Clarions around the country and Best Westerns and some of these places. And I said, I never want to stay there again, because I would stay in these bad hotels. I would do training in these terrible training rooms. Sometimes there were 4 people there. Sometimes there were 400 people there. And I would teach a concept. How do you excel as a first-time manager? And I would do this for 8 hours. I would entertain complete strangers for 8 hours on a subject. But the subject was so strong that it attracted people, right? This was a concept they could market. This would attack a problem with a solution. Think like this: how to become a person of interest that attracts thousands of leads without ever having to chase again. That's a concept, right? How do you become the buyer versus the seller? How do you flip the script? How do you never chase a lead again? These are powerful concepts. Okay, so this is what I call positioning by concept. So I want to ask you, as you're thinking about it, if I called you today, okay, and I went through and I began calling people, and I said Bonnie and Anthony and Amanda Banks and Brandy Forbes and Brent Bogan, if I called you tonight and I said, look, I got a stage tomorrow, okay, and I'd love for you to type in or chat in with your answers on this. Every person on this webinar. If I called you and I said, you have 18 minutes, I got a speaking engagement in Nashville, Tennessee. There's going to be 5,000 people there, and I have 18 minutes for you to speak. What would be your concept? Okay. Everybody's typing in their concepts. Okay. This is very important, because if you don't have this, because here's the deal. What if every single one of you were up for that speaking engagement, all 66 of you, and I can only pick one of you? And I go, that is the concept. We've got this tour. Here's an example of this. We've got this tour coming up with me and Tim Story and Sharon Lecter, and it was positioned as when life knocks the shout out of you. Great concept. That's something that Tim Story said a lot many years ago. But we decided today that we're going to change the concept to the comeback campaign. We changed the concept. Instead of when life knocks a shout of you, it's the comeback campaign. It's time to move forward. It's time to move forward. This is the concept, right? Now, here's the deal. Each one of you guys are positioning and competing against each other, right? And I'm looking for one concept. Like, look, man, I only got one 18-minute slot for one of you. Okay, is the concept strong enough? Sean Vernon, I see your concept. What we got to do is we got to take that concept and we got to sexy all these concepts up. Like when I wrote the book, Person of Interest, think about how powerful of a concept that is. How do you become a must-have versus a nice-to-have, right? How do you become the person other people want a piece of and cannot live without? My new book is called Flip the Switch, How to Activate the Prey Drive in You and Your People. Now, here's my point. To Jonathan's point, you want to become known for this one thing, like you are the world's #1 expert, boom, on this. And that's why I need you speaking on my stage. So thank you for typing in. And I want you to ask yourself, is the concept strong enough? Is the concept strong enough? Now, if you want to do a strategy session with me on your concept, email eric@coachburt.com or lakin@coachburt.com. And let's do a strategy session on whether your concept is strong enough to get you on stages, right? So think about this. Your concept or talk must solve a problem. Okay. Once you become famous, right? Like Tony Robbins, then people may come to see you. But here's the deal. People don't just go to see Tony Robbins. They go to concepts like unleash the power within, awaken the giant. Brad Blazer has conquered the crisis. Coach Bird has monster producer, right? Like my point to you is this. You got to start thinking before you become famous, you got to have killer concepts. Take Tony Robbins, unleash the power within. You walk on coals, 4 days of discovery, 50 hours of coaching, breakdowns, breakthroughs, dynamic community. Okay? Now, when you think about that, Brad, I'm not forgetting you, big guy. I'm about to bring you in, so get yourself ready. Okay? I want you to write down your most powerful solutions to a problem. Money changes hands when problems are solved. Coaching businesses are built because they solve problems for other people. I have a program called Turn Your Managers into Coaches. Today, we were working on a $75,000 contract for me to take a group of managers and turn them into coaches, right? Coaching programs solve a problem. What's the problem? What's the cost of bad managers? How much does it cost companies to have untrained managers? We attack a problem. Our publishing division writes the book for you. That solves a problem, right? So when you think about it and you write down your most powerful solutions to the problem, this is where you need to go with the title of your talk, your book, and your message. At our $1 Million Coaching Summit coming up in July 9th through the 11th, we force you to get clear on a message. And until you have clarity of message and have tested it with an audience, you don't know if the concept's strong enough. I've had concepts, guys, that I thought was strong enough, and it wasn't strong enough. Now, I want you to hear this one. In this book, The Accountable Church, one of my new books, here's the subtitle: How to Get and Keep the Attention and Engagement of Churchgoers in a Red Bull ADD Society. See that problem? Okay, now think about that. There's 10,000 churches that die in the United States every year. This book attempts to solve that problem. How do you get and keep the attention of an engagement of churchgoers in a Red Bull ADD society? That's the subtitle. Concept. People don't know me in that space. They don't know me in that space. So I got to come with a boom, strong concept. Now, secret number 2. Okay? Secret number 2. You don't believe you can achieve the same results as somebody else who's done it, or you don't understand how it works. You may be thinking, Coach Burt, I can never write 16 books or speak on stage with 10,000 people. Well, 16 books started by writing just one book. Speaking to 10,000 people started by me speaking at an elementary basketball banquet where they didn't even pay me, or maybe they paid me a couple $100. And a guy in the back came up to me and said, Coach, you can do this. You can go on the circuit. I didn't even understand what the circuit was, where I went around the country and gave speeches to people. Okay, to understand how the speaking really works, speaking business really works, you got to break it down. You got to break it down, okay? There are businesses who want to inspire their people. If you're a coach, there are businesses out in the world that say, I will pay Jonathan Hawkins or Brad Blazer or Bonnie or Brent Bogan, okay, or Chad Anderson or Colin Howard. There are businesses, or Denise Dean. There are businesses who say, John Burt, man, I would bring John Burt in to coach my people on that concept. What is the concept again, right? So think about it. The speaking business is built on audiences of all types that want specialized information. They may want motivation. Some people just want motivation. You'd be shocked how many people call my office and I say, what do you want me to do with your people? And they say, we just want you to keep them motivated. Some people want inspiration, right? Some people want to solve a problem they're facing. Like today, I was working with a person that wanted to improve their close ratios. Okay. Some people just need a speaker for a conference. It may be to provide entertainment, or what I call edutainment. In any case, they have a problem and they believe you have the solution. They may want your message. They may want your energy. They may want your brain. I want you to type in right now what problem your message solves. What problem does your message really solve for other people? If we were going to put you on that stage, what's the problem that it solves? Right? Because if it doesn't solve a problem, I'm probably not bringing you in. Thank you, Mike, as you guys are proposing. Okay. Now, here's the deal. Here's how it works when it comes to the speaking engagement. As you type it in the problem that it solves, they see you and they determine one thing: he can help us. She can help us. They want you to speak to their people. If you do a good job and they see the utility, they may hire you to be their coach. Where does the coaching assignment start, Lynette? With the speaking. The speaking drives everything. You don't get on the stage unless you have a concept. Okay, so they see you and they determine that you can help them. Therefore, they invite you to come along, right? They may have an upcoming event that has a theme, and your topic is in alignment with their theme. Okay, they have an upcoming event and you have a buzz, which brings in people to hear what you have to say. Okay, so you bring some fire and energy about you. And people see you and they go, man, this is a person that needs to do it. Okay, if you study my website, okay, which Jonathan Hawkins and his team has put together, you will see that there is a page about me, which is one of the #1 pages people go to, about my story, how I've worked hard to become the #1 leading authority on activating prey drive in people. And I have speaking topics with short hype videos on each topic. Each topic is typically based on a book that I've written to position me as the expert. And this is very important, because if I go to your website today and you don't have a website, if you don't have a one sheet, if you don't have a hype video, if you don't have the proper things you need in place, then it sends a signal to me that you're not a professional, that you're an amateur and want to be a professional. Okay? To speak, here's some things you're going to need. I want you to write these down. You're going to need a message. You're going to need a speaking reel, which is a short reel of you speaking. You're going to need a hype video or a 1 to 2 minute video, maybe even a long form video. You're going to need a one page that outlines who you are, what you do, and why you matter. Okay. Now we're going to teach all of these things that you need at the $1 Million Coaching Summit. I've got one July 7th through 9th and one in October. Okay. Now, so when you think about this, Mark Nolan, and you're looking at these things, I want you guys to ask, what are you missing right now? Because I'm about to move into secret #3 and bring in Brad Blazer on some key things he learned from the coaching summit. What are you missing right now? Are you missing the message? Are you missing a speaking reel? Are you missing a hype video? Are you missing a one page, which explains who you are, why you matter, what the person gets, right? Are you missing a website? Okay. What are you missing in this equation for somebody to say, this is a legit person? And you may say, man, I'm missing all of it. I can tell you, since we've gone to Jonathan Hawkins and his team on our website, our book orders have gone through the roof. Our funnels have produced more leads, okay, than we've ever seen. I think today we sent out 50 to 60 books. Those are 50 or 60 people that purchased my book today that are all leads to go into different funnels. What are you missing, guys? This is where you got to do the heavy lifting. Okay. What are you missing out of those things? Are you missing the message, the speaking reel, the hype video, the one page, or the website? Okay. All of these things are needed to be a big time speaker. Now I'm going to give you my third secret. You believe there are external factors limiting you, even though you believe this is for you. Like this, you in your mind, you still have these external. You don't believe you can start your speaking business without hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? So here's some case studies. I started my speaking career with less than $7,500 in my bank account. No lines of credit, no loans, no investors. I had a message. I had confidence. I had a demonstrated capacity of being a championship coach. I had energy. I took that energy out to anybody who would listen, including college courses, Rotary clubs. I call it the bad chicken circuit. Okay, the bad chicken circuit. A leadership camp that I gave to 2 7-year-olds and a 9-year-old. Junior pro coaches. Like I took my message out to anybody who would listen to it. Okay. And it was really my first book wasn't very good. My second book wasn't very good. My third book finally opened doors. It was called This Ain't No Practice Life. And I finally got in front of all types of people. And remember, I get on a stage, you be good with the real message, you get opportunities to coach. Now, this is important. The only limiting belief that you have is that you don't have a message and you don't know who would pay you for that message. Don't worry about that for now. The concept of the showcase event is that you get in front of people and practice. You get in front of people and go. My first big assignment was for a bank that had 500 people. The speaker they wanted wasn't available. And he said, why don't you call Coach Burt? He recommended me. I got in front of the audience. I had a good showing. That one engagement turned into a $150,000 contract. I signed one of the largest contracts I've ever signed when I did a workshop for 2 people. Just 2 people showed up on my book, This Ain't No Practice Life. There's that concept again. I'm here to tell you there are no external factors limiting you. You do have the confidence. All you're lacking is the confidence. This is precisely why we created the $1 Million Coaching Summit. We created the coaching summit to help people who had a desire but didn't have the know-how. And we break all this stuff down. So I want to bring in a graduate of our coaching summit in Brad Blazer out of Houston, Texas. Brad has gone on to publish more books, create virtual summits, get coaching clients as a result of spending 2.5 days at our coaching summit. And Brad, I want you, this is the part where we're talking about limiting beliefs. And we're talking about what you took away from the coaching summit that is talking about these concepts, because I've given them 2 secrets. I've given them 3 secrets. First secret is create a position and concept, position by concept. 2, you don't understand how it really works. And I explained how the speaking business really works. You got to have a concept that solves a problem. And 3, you believe there's external factors that are limiting you, that you can't really start a coaching business unless you have hundreds of thousands of dollars. What would you say to that, Brad?
I'd say you don't need hundreds of thousands of dollars, because I certainly didn't have hundreds of thousands of dollars when I started. And, you know, the whole journey for me really started by just writing a book. I had a book inside me that I had been thinking about for many years, and finally just got off my butt one day and got behind the computer and started banging it out, and self-published it, put it up on Amazon, not really knowing who would buy it, who would read it. And very funny, but a very fortunate thing happened for me. A friend of mine went out to go find the book. And rather than typing in the name of the book, because he couldn't remember On the Wings of Eagles, Learning to Soar in Life, he just typed in my name. And instead of the book popping up, a blog actually over in the United Kingdom called Boov that put together a list of the top 10 books for young entrepreneurs popped up, and mine was the #1 book on the list. And so he called me and he said, you know, hey, Brad, you know, your book is #1. And I'm like, you know, where? On New York Times, on Amazon? I had no idea, because I certainly wasn't behind this. And so he sent me a link, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it is #1 on this list of the top 10 books for young entrepreneurs. So what I did, as any smart person would do, is I started pushing that article out to the deans at universities across the country that had entrepreneurial programs. I said, hey, my name is Brad Blazer. I'm an author. My book was recently ranked #1 for young entrepreneurs. Here's a copy. Here's a link to the article. And then I started getting telephone calls. Hey, we'd like to have you come in, speak to the students. And word slowly spread out. And I started to market that with press releases. Then I started getting telephone calls from radio shows. Hey, you know, we heard about your book. We heard about you. And I got on a couple of radio interviews. And this thing just started snowballing. And then I said to myself, well, if I've got this book and I've got this great message, I really need to share it with the world. My dream in life has always really been to be on a stage and share my message. And that dream really came about at a very young age. You know, I started an oil company at the age of 23. I didn't know anything about running a multi-million-dollar business, but I had the courage and I had the perseverance. And I built that company up over the course of a decade. And when I pivoted and dissolved that company, I said to myself, there's a story in that. You know, there's not many 23-year-old kids that drop out of college and build million-dollar oil companies. But I never got around to writing the book until many years later. And as you know, that, of course, evolved into speaking, and of course now coaching and being the host and organizer of Conquer the Crisis, and making some big connections to some big time people like Matthew Knowles and Bobby Castro and Brad Lee and Tim Story, yourself, and Ben Murasan. The second book, of course, came out, Put Some Thrive in Your Hive. And the second book really I wrote as a result of some follow-up that I was doing. Last year, I was actually called in to speak and train the leaders and managers to a multi-billion-dollar company called PCL Industries. They're one of the world's largest contractors. And as I was following up with a lot of the leaders and managers, I realized there was a big disconnect in the way they as managers were praising and providing recognition to the employees, and the way the employees actually wanted to be recognized. It really went back to what you teach, Coach, and that was kind of the whole person theory. And so I actually set aside the second book that I had already started, which was called Blueprint for Your Better Self, banged out this other book called Put Some Thrive in Your Hive, because I realized if I had a book that I could send to leaders and managers and CEOs, that would, like you say, open the door to much larger relationships. So instead of getting paid a couple $1,000s to coach one person, I could be paid potentially tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to come in and speak to organizations. And that's exactly what's happening right now. The doors are opening. I'm having conversations, and we're doing much bigger things.
Well, when you think about it, very few people in our coaching program that's gone through the $1 Million Coaching Summit has gone and taken the kind of action that Brad Blazer has. He's getting on bigger stages. He's forming bigger partnerships. He's creating his own conferences. And a lot of that came from coming and spending 2.5 days at the lodge, as Jonathan Hawkins said, with 50 people at our coaching summit, and really walking out of there with a clear way to monetize your message. When you have these ideas, think of his concepts. Put some thrive in your hive, right? I like the blueprint to your better self. These are concepts. These are very strong concepts, right? But it's one thing to have a concept. It's another thing to know how to make money with the concept. It's another thing to know how to open doors with the concept. It's another thing to know how to put on a virtual summit of which you collect thousands of leads, of which you can go back and follow up on those leads and sell coaching programs to. And so the way your mind has got to be thinking about this, guys, is you don't need a lot of money. You need courage. You need action, but you need know-how, because you can flounder around in this for years. So Brad, thank you for joining us tonight and talking about what you're doing. You're probably one of our most successful coaching students. We're proud. We're so proud of you. And we're proud that you're out there doing big things in the world. And let me tell you something about Brad Blazer. He has no hesitation to call anybody on planet Earth. If you wanted to call President Trump, just get in touch with Brad Blazer and he will pick up the phone and call it. Okay. Now, I know what you're probably thinking tonight, guys. You don't know how to do this. You may be thinking that. You don't believe you can achieve these kind of results. The number one reason people don't write books is they don't believe they can. You don't believe they're external, or you believe they're external limits. If I could, I want permission to share something with you. If all of this tonight is piquing your interest, and that's why you've stayed on this webinar with me, and your interest here, then that's great, because all of this will be a major part of my $1 Million Coaching Summit coming up July the 9th through the 11th at my lodge in Tennessee. This is where I spend 2.5 days showing you step by step how to craft a message, how to get speaking engagements, how to turn that message into a book, how to build a coaching program, how to build online programs. I basically take the last 18 years of my life of learning the good, the bad, the ugly, how to do these things. And I show you how to do it. Just like Jonathan Hawkins went through, there's been a major success story of ours. Brad Blazer's been a major, and I could give you 50 more testimonials of people that have gone on to build hundreds of thousands of dollars. You know, if this interests you tonight, Eric@CoachBurt.com or Lakin@CoachBurt.com. Or if you want to inquire about our summit, or if you want to do a strategy session with me, then I really, really encourage you. I only do this once or twice a year. I didn't start doing it till I was 18 years into the business, and it built a multi-million-dollar coaching business. This is the best thing I do. Out of everything I do, the coaching summit is the best thing. So I want you to consider spending 2.5 days with me. I only have a few seats left at each one of these. So if it's something that you're interested in, July 9th through the 11th at my lodge, you come to Nashville, Tennessee, you spend 2.5 days with me, be in the room with me, just like Jonathan was, just like Brad. And I think you can have that same kind of success. Now, what happens when you make a decision like this to invest in yourself? First thing you get is when you create a message, you're going to have an increased confidence and an increased person of interest score. Every person, I believe if life is worth living, it's worth writing down. Your own internal confidence will go up because you have put your philosophy on paper. You have created a position. You have created a concept. This is so much stronger than a business card. Like business cards are so outdated, guys. You don't need a business card, right? You need a book. You need a message. You need a point of view. You don't need to go on social media and try to sell your product and service. You need to go on social media and have a message that resonates with people. This is so much stronger. This positions you as an expert. You have thought out your thoughts and shared them with people around the world. This will open more doors for you and lead to more opportunity than you can possibly imagine. People will begin seeing you in a different way, just like they see Jonathan, just like they see Brad, just like they see Cody Askins that said he'll probably earn $600,000 more in speaking and coaching because of the coaching summit. So when you think about it, speaking drives leads. That's what you got to get in your brain. I don't care what you do for a living. Speaking drives leads. You don't need more money. You need more people. Now, who this works for, it's going to work for any person. You have experiences that are unique to you. No two people on planet Earth have the same experiences. Now, we have team members on our team who can help you write the books. We have team members who can help teach you how to do the speaking engagements, right? The cost to discover this on your own, this would most likely take years and thousands of hours, guys. That's why I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. Okay. I have the blueprint. I can show you the way. We can get your message out quicker. Now, here's what the logic says. The logic says this is going to be hard. This is hard. I disagree. You just don't have a plan. Some experts say up to 81% of Americans say they want to write a book. 200 million Americans have a message in them that they're not giving. Okay. Now, along the way, you're going to have questions. Okay. Again, it seems complicated with many moving parts. We've done this so many times that it's a routine habit to us. Okay. At my summit, I'm going to walk you through step by step how to follow up, how to get on a stage, how to charge for your services, how to bring your message. Now, I tell you what I wouldn't recommend, guys. I would not recommend going at this alone. You're going to stumble through the process. You're not going to have a good outline. You may wander around for 4 or 5 years, which is what a lot of people do. I believe what a good coach does is help you accelerate the process. You have the ideas, but as long as they remain ideas, they're never going to be monetized. You have to package those ideas. Okay. I have a team of people who help me come alongside you and get this up and going. Now, at our $1 Million Coaching Summit, July 9th through the 11th, or the one in September, we're going to lay all this stuff out for you, just like we did for Jonathan, just like we did for Brad. It will be packaged in a way that makes it easy and it makes it possible to take action. There will be a roadmap that I've created over the last 15 years from both self-publishing to signing major publishing deals to help you, okay? When you add up all the cost of everything I'm talking about, learning how to speak, building your message, having a coach, creating a publisher, you could be looking at easily $20,000 to $50,000 for a project like this to get it done. I know some done-for-you publishers and coaches that charge $30,000 just to write the book, okay? And some coaches that charge as much as $100,000 to get you coached. The investment, that's what you're talking about tonight for our coaching summit, is going to show you exactly how to do these things and offer the strategy, and it's only $5,000. For those of you who take action tonight on the coaching summit, and some of you have already taken action on the coaching summit, I'm going to do a special VIP night with you. I'm going to do a special strategy session with you on your book. I'm going to give you a special session with my writer of my Monster Publishing division. Okay. I'm going to give you the workbook that we have in there, the $1 Million Coaching Book, and we're going to start the process of getting you ready for the summit, July the 9th through the 11th. Okay. I've personally paid as much as $7,500 per month. Okay. I want to say this. I've personally paid as much as $7,500 per month for coaching on these things. To take action, simply go to the link that we're going to post in here tonight. You can take action tonight. It's a 2.5-day summit. I give you an extra evening with me on Friday night, VIP with me, a strategy session with me, the workbook we throw in, and we give you the ability to spend time with our writer of our coaching division. Remember, If you take action, you get all of that plus the extra tonight. Now, one of the biggest mistakes I see people make, guys, and this is a big mistake, is I made it on my first 2 books. I didn't seek help. I didn't reach out to other people for help. Therefore, I wrote marginal books. I could have got on stages so much earlier in my life. I had the energy just like you. I had the confidence just like you. I felt like I had a message, but I didn't invest in myself to learn. I mean, when I was turned on to Covey at 25 years old, I should have been going to speaking coaches and coaches on how to write books. I didn't. I did it the hard way. Like I wrote the first book and it sucked. And I wrote the second book and it sucked. It took me till I got to the 3rd book before it was any good. If I had gotten proper coaching, if I had written better books, if I understood the game, if I had just invested in myself earlier in life, okay, there's no telling where we would have gone with this. Okay. Now, when you get started down this path, could be worth hundreds of thousands of new dollars to you. Jonathan Hawkins, a person who went through $1 Million Coaching Summit last year, has already created more stages, better packaging, hundreds of thousands of new dollars. What he told you during the webinar, Jonathan has explained to you tonight what he got, what he's advanced, how he's advanced. There's a cost to everything in life, but the value and the worth is much greater. The cost of time and energy, the cost of your indecision. Remember, the number one reason people don't get started with their own book and speaking careers because they don't believe they can, or they don't know how. I'm so confident in our system that we've developed to help you speak, coach, and train because we produced over $10 million with this model. The first little book got me started. The first little book called Changing Lives Through Coaching. You're probably thinking this is going to cost a lot of time. Here's what I tell you: not taking action, not getting in the room with people who know, not being around 50 other people who can help you. That's what will cost you. Think of the lives you could be impacting if we could just get you on stages. Think of think of the number of people that you could help if we got you on right stages, if you wrote a great book, right? So I told you, if you stuck around to the end, that I'm going to give you a bonus that I alluded to in the beginning. For those of you that take action tonight on the Coaching Summit, it's a $5,000 investment. You spend 2.5 days with me. For those people that do take action, as I said, I'm going to give you an extra evening with me, VIP, at the lodge, be exclusive to the people that take action on the package. I'm going to give you a strategy session with me. I'm going to give you a strategy session with my writer who can go through your titles. Some of you have great concepts. When I looked at those concepts tonight, they are incredible. What they need is they need polishing. They need to be run through a filter. They need a true expert to look at it. So as I'm looking tonight, if you want to take action, eric@coachburt.com, lakin@coachburt.com. All you got to say, guys, is I'm in. I'm in. I'm only looking for the serious. I'm only looking for the committed. And if you want more information about it, you can reach out to those 2 people and we can do a strategy session with you as well. Now, I want to challenge you tonight as we wrap this up. If you don't take action tonight, you and I both know that many of you will never take action. I say this at my speaking engagements. If you saw me speak tonight and you know I can help you, if you don't take action tonight, I tell people 90% of people will not take action. How many times in my life, I met a guy named Paul Martinelli many years ago who helped John Maxwell build his business to $150 million. And the minute I met him, guys, the minute I met him, I said, that guy can help me. It took me 10 years to call him. And within 10 minutes, he told me how to get to 150 million. And I felt so dumb and I was so ashamed and I had such regret. I'm like, Paul, I met you 10 years ago. I knew you could help me 10 years ago and I didn't have the guts to take action. And I wasted 10 years of my life, guys. So when I challenge people, I say, man, if you don't take action, we can have this talk today or we can have it 3 years from today. You have a message inside of you. Okay. When you say yes tonight, you got America's coach behind you. You got me and my team behind you, helping you be successful. So let's go. Let's take action. If you're in tonight, say, I'm in. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to write a best-selling book. I'm ready to get on big stages. I'm ready to get rolling. If you don't believe me, listen to Brad Blazer. Listen to Jonathan Hawkins. Listen to the 50 other people. Listen to the hundreds of thousands of dollars that we've helped people go. So if you're in, just raise your hand, man. Say, I'm in. Lake and Hibden, Eric White can help you. Is there anyone who prefer to ask some questions? And if there are, I'll take some questions at this moment. If you want to stick around, Sean Vernon, thank you for taking action on the Coaching Summit. Can't wait to see you at the lodge. I know you're going to get that intimate evening with me on Friday night. I'm so proud of you, big guy, and I know you're going to write a best-selling book as well. So if you're in and interested, raise your hand and say I'm in, because we'd love to have you there. Some of you have already taken action, and I can't wait to spend time with you. But this has been an incredible night tonight. I'll take any questions that you want to ask over the last few minutes. Thank you for sticking around to the very end. I hope you got the value tonight, position by concept, understand how the business really works. You got to solve a problem, right? And at the end of the day, understand that we turn the speaking into coaching. Okay, that's how it works. You get on a stage, they like you, you turn it into a coaching agreement, and that's where the big money is made. At the Coaching Summit, I'll show you how I take a stage and turn it into $150,000. One stage, you give me 300 people and one stage, and I can turn that one stage, if it's the right audience, into $150,000 of revenue. John P. says, tell me the subtitle of the church book. You got it, big guy. How to get and keep the attention and engagement of churchgoers in a Red Bull ADD society. Okay, how to get and keep the attention and engagement of churchgoers. I wrote that book because there's 10,000 churches that die in the United States every year because they don't have enough money, they don't have enough people. And I'm trying to solve that problem. Tony Barnes, can't wait. Can't wait to see you at the Coaching Summit. Thank you for already taking action on the Coaching Summit. Are there any questions? I need to get that book for my pastor. Yes, that book will be great for pastors. Thoughts on doing this for my company as a brand versus me as an individual? Here's what I would tell you, Brandy. Great question, Brandy Forbes. If they like you, they're going to want to do business with your company. So to me, there is no separation. Okay? If they like you, they're going to want to do business with your company. So it doesn't matter if it's you or that. Great question. Sam Bates, thank you. I want to thank you for showing up tonight. Okay? There's the Accountable Church book. You can purchase it right now. They put it, Katrina Gray on my team. Thank you for putting that in there. If you want to pick up a copy of the Accountable Church, go ahead and get that for your pastor. It's a book that is a true game changer, in my opinion, for churches. And I wrote it as a church goer my whole life. Daniel Pope, thank you. You'll be in touch with Eric. Thank you, big guy. I think for what you're doing, going into the coaching space and coaching coaches, it's an incredible place for you to be. So I want to encourage you. I want to encourage you to do this. All right. Any more questions for Coach Burke before I go home and see my beautiful seven-year-old daughter and my wife that's about 1 week away from having our baby boy? All right. You guys are great. I want to thank you. God bless you. Thank you for spending time with me. I truly appreciate it. Jonathan Hawkins, thank you. Brad Blazer, thank you. Okay. Thank you, Jason Torres. Love talking to you today. Seth Thomas, thank you. Lori, thank you so much for committing to your future. It means the world to me. And you guys have been incredible tonight. I hope this workshop and this webinar has been very valuable for you. And it means the world to me. I'd love to see you at the Coaching Summit, July 9th through the 11th, or the one in September. I have one in September too that you can come to. Just reach out to Eric at Coach Burt or Lakin. Denise, thank you. I look forward to seeing you at the publishing retreat. It's going to be incredible. You guys have a great night. Ronald Hunt, you're the best. Hi, I'm Coach Michael Burt. To get a free copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, text 678-506-7543. Text to get a copy of my book, Inside the Mind of a Monster, and I'm going to turn you into a legendary creature.